Welcome back. In this section of the course, we're going to be taking a look at some more advanced features inside of Notion that you can use for more niche use cases, but that are still important to learn about and that can be really helpful to many of you. So let's get started with some of the more advanced blocks that Notion has to offer that help us do things we otherwise wouldn't be able to do with the basic blocks we learned about so far. The first of these blocks is the template button, and this actually allows us to create templates directly inside of our Notion pages. So you've heard about Notion database templates already, but now we can also create templates inside of our pages. And to do that, we have to add a template button. And if you do that, and if you can type, unlike me, then you get these configuration options. So first of all, you can have a button name, and we could just say, just add a new to-do. This is something we could keep. And then down here, we have our template. So this is what actually gets duplicated when we use the template button. Now, let's try how this works. So if you close this out, we see this button. And if I click on that button, you see how a new to-do item appears above this button. If I click again, one more. So we can now duplicate whatever is inside of these inside of this template in here multiple times over. And this is a great feature, especially for our habit tracker, because until now, we actually needed to go back and uncheck any of these checkboxes whenever a new week started. And that makes not that much sense. It's really tedious. So we now have a better way of doing that. So now let's actually do this and let's actually add this to our template button. So let's delete all of these to-dos. We don't need them anymore. We can also rename the button. So this is going to be called add a new week. And then we can delete the to-do item out of here. Now, what we also want to do is we want to copy all this content like that, and then paste it into the template. And now you see we've got all the content in here that we need so that we can close this out. Oh, and we actually didn't rename it correctly. So let's go back and let's do the renaming again. So let's say add a new week. Close it. Perfect. So now we can add a new week with this button. So let's say we used our template here. We clicked some of these habits. We didn't do all of them. Maybe on Thursday we were actually doing our habits like that. And so the week is over and we can, instead of just unclicking all of those, we'll just delete everything like that. Click on this button and we have a whole new week again that we can use as a template, and now we can use our habit tracker in a much easier, much simpler way. Next, you can also set reminders for yourself inside of your Notion workspace. And this is something we haven't talked about yet, so let me show you how it works. If you type the @ symbol anywhere into your Notion workspace, you will see this menu pop up. So there's different options here, but we'll focus on the date options. And it already says remind tomorrow at 9 a.m. So what if we click on that? Well, then we actually directly created a reminder for us inside of our Notion workspace. And this reminder will actually also pop up in the All Updates tab. And if you have the notifications enabled on your mobile phone or on your desktop app, then you will also get this notification there. So this is a great way to use Notion as a tool to remind yourself of important events like meetings and appointments and birthdays and so on. So that's a really, really useful feature that Notion has directly built in. Now you can actually do this custom as well. So if you do the @ and then, for example, go on the today date, you can click on this again and then you can adjust the date as well. So you could, choose any date that you want. You can also include an end time if you want. So you can have like a range, like a date range. You can include a time, and then you can also choose if you want to get a reminder. You can have no reminder at all. You can have it at the time of the event and at all these other times as well. So a really nice feature that Notion has and really useful for not forgetting things in your Notion workspace. If you're working in a team, you can also mention other people inside of pages, and that's really nice for collaborating on different documents together. So let me show you how to do this. So this works the same way. You just type the @ symbol. And if you have multiple people in your workspace, they will actually pop up in here and you can just choose them. So they will get a notification that they were mentioned inside of the Notion workspace. So again, great collaboration feature that Notion gives you. Next are breadcrumbs, and this is something that you'll see on websites often. It's basically like the visual hierarchy of the page that you're on. So you see we're on the advanced blocks page, which is nested inside of the Notion 101 page. And this is basically the exact same thing that appears up here. So nothing much changes. And that's why I personally never really use it, because I can always see the breadcrumbs appear as well. But if you need it for some reason, you know that it's there. Next, we have mathematical equations. And this is really powerful for scientists, for students, because it really allows you to use scientific notation directly inside of Notion. So to do that, you can just do the /equation. Like that. There's the option to use an inline equation and also a block equation. Inline means that you can have it directly inside of a piece of text, and block means it's like a standalone equation. So if I add this, we can just add a tech equation in here. So we could say m equals, and then we can use some expression like that, square root of 2, for example. And that is, oops, that's wrong way around, like that. And now we have this expression. And we could also have some text. So I'm going to generate some random text again. And then in here, I could have an inline equation. So something like this. And then do the same thing. So you see the difference between the two. So basically, it's just inline inside of this piece of text, like this. So great feature for scientists. Again, I use that for my college as well. So if I ever need that, I have used that before, and I'm going to do that in the future as well, because it again helps me keep everything inside of Notion. And lastly, we have code blocks, and this is great for software engineers, for students that just quickly want to write some code or share some snippets of code in Notion. The great thing here is that it actually supports a lot of different languages. So if you hover over it, you see you can choose the language that you want to use, and then it will actually give you syntax highlighting for that language. So if I was to write some really basic JavaScript, like just something like this, so really, really basic, you might make out that it's actually, if I zoom in, that it's actually highlighted. So you have some light syntax highlighting in there as well. If you need that, again, really great tool. Also has like this copy option built in, so you can directly copy the code like that, and it's just there. So something I've used in the past before, and that's great for all software engineers.